Welcome to ABC News. My name is Sandy Hong.
And I'm Jackie Escalero.
This is a recap of what happened in the 1960s.
Coming up today on the news will be information about President Kennedy,
the Civil Rights Movement,
the Vietnam War,
President Johnson,
our culture,
sports, and space.
First off, we'll talk to you about the tragic incident that happened on November 22nd, 1963.
President Kennedy was shot in the head when coming through the streets of downtown Dallas, Texas, by Lee Harvey Oswald. Next, an African-American girl named Linda Brown was denied to go to her neighborhood school in Topeka, Kansas, because of her skin color.
With the help of the NAACP, her parents were able to sue the Topeka School Board.
On May 17, 1954, the Supreme Court declared that under the 14th Amendment, segregation in public school is unconstitutional.
Rosa Parks was recently arrested and the people are outraged.
She refused to give her seat to a white man, and because of this, the police took her away.
The African Americans are planning to boycott Montgomery's buses with the leadership of Martin Luther King Jr.
The school board in Little Rock, Arkansas, won a court order to admit 9 African American students to Central High, an all-white school.
The whites, however, are angry. An angry white mob even protested against their coming. Because of this, Eisenhower ordered troops to stay with the 9 students throughout the school year. Led by Jesse Jackson and other African American students, people began to sit at the counter until they were served.
Jackie, I think the African Americans are indeed on the right track towards their freedom.
I agree with you on that one.
Martin Luther King Jr. made his inspiring speech, "I Have a Dream," near the Lincoln Memorial, outlining the dream of freedom and equality for all Americans.
Sadly, he was assassinated on April 4, 1968. The tragic event means that the Poor People Campaign, a movement to get the federal government to commit money to end poverty and unemployment in the U.S., would have to go on without him.
Although he may not be here with us today, his soul and spirit would be forever in our hearts.
Hi, Carly Dunkelberg here.
And I'm Brittany, and today we will be reporting on the Vietnam War.
And hippies.
North Vietnam was spreading their communism into South Vietnam, and France did not want to help, so that's when the U.S. came in and helped. They drafted men as young as 19 years old.
The My Lai massacre that the U.S. caused took many Vietnamese citizens' lives.
Later on, North Vietnam attacked 2 of the U.S. destroyers, causing the Gulf of Tonkin incident. Congress quickly passed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution.
Nixon orders the first withdrawal from Vietnam, called Vietnamization, where U.S. troops were removed from Vietnam. With war also comes a new culture of people called hippies. Big clusters have started appearing in San Francisco on the corner of Haight and Ashbury. Hippies' primary content in life is about being happy with little or no concerns involving the consequences in their actions. Many hippies rejected the use of nuclear weapons in the Vietnam War. In fact, I sat down with a young hippie when thousands stormed Berkeley and tried to spread no war.
Hi, Carly Dongelberger here, reporting for ABC News. I'm here at Berkeley College in San Francisco, where there's a recent riot going on involving hippies and the use of nuclear weapons in the Vietnam War. Here to talk with me today is one young hippie named Harmony. Hello, Harmony.
Hi, Carly.
So, what are you doing at Berkeley College today?
We are on strike for peace and no war. We believe that war is not acceptable.
Well, thank you so much, Harmony. It was great talking to you today. Do you have a message that you want to get out to the public?
Peace, no war.
Thank you, Harmony.
Thank you, Carly.
Back to you guys in the studio.
In other news, To Serve With Love by Lulu topped the music charts this week with Happy Together by the Turtles and Wind by the Association following close behind.
In movie news, the top 5 of this decade were 1. The Sound of Music, 1965, 2. 101 Dalmatians, 1967, 3. The Jungle Book, 1967, 5. Dr. Zhivago, 1965, and 5. The Graduate, 1967. Stay tuned for the Fashion Minute with me and
Sports Entertainment with Brittany Caha.
for our Fashion Minute, ladies' skirts have gotten shorter and shorter, whereas men have been experiencing new identities by wearing brighter colors and showing more of an open-minded style. Also, the bikini has been seen on more and more beaches lately. Some patterns that people are wearing are psychedelic prints, highlighter colors, and mismatched patterns.
In the sports report, in 1960, the Winter Games were held in Esquimalt Valley, and the Summer Games were held in Rome. The first Super Bowl game happened in 1967. The main baseball players in the time were Bob Gibson and Sandy Koufax. In the 1964, the Cardinals beat the Yankees in the World Series. Muhammad Ali was the most known in boxing industry.
And there you have it. Next, we're going to have the Britneys talk about space exploration and LBJ.
Kennedy began the space program in 1961 and made an ambitious goal of landing a man on the moon. $79 billion were asked to run the space program. Finally, the space program between Apollo 10, 11, and 13.
The U.S. had to become the first to land on the moon to keep Kennedy's promise to the whole country. Apollo 13's mission failed due to an oxygen tank exploding. Apollo 10's mission failed due to not actually landing or touching down on the surface of the moon. Apollo 11 launched in 1969, making it the first to land on the moon.
After the assassination of John F. Kennedy, he was announced the 36th President of the United States. While president, he supported the Great Society, which included health, education, renewal, conservation, and civil rights. His main goal of the Great Society was the elimination of poverty and racial injustice. Vista, March on Washington, and War on Poverty were all achievements Johnson made.
And here's Carly for the last segment of the day, reporting on women's suffrage.
This report tonight, we're going to talk about women's rights. The women's rights movement was to make the political, social, and economic status of women equal to men's rights. And that's when the 19th Amendment came into law, giving women the right to vote. And that's all we have for tonight, guys. Thanks for watching.